Paul, you and Craig, offensive coordinator, that's the job. Dave Aranda is searching for one with head coaching experience. Have you done any due diligence on that?
I've just researched guys that are out there. It's going to be in the top 5 today, actually, but I don't mind teasing some of it. But they're like, you look around analysts, guys who are not coaching right now, guys who have been head coaches that are offensive coordinators other places that would fit. And then you got to think about, do you want to, if you're going to get into it, and get somebody like that. So say, I'll just start a name that's a Cal, Jake Spavital. Jake Spavital runs the spread. You don't run the spread right now. If you're going to bring in Jake Spavital, that means that you are committing to a roster overhaul. And if it's a make or break year, you kind of want to try to win with as little turnover as possible, although you do need a lot of new players. So it's an interesting road that they have to travel to figure that out. Or you can find somebody that maybe is not running the wide zone, but is somebody that runs something kind of similar to what you do, but just maybe fits the personnel better, like a Daryl Dickey who was at A&M. He's been at North Texas. He's been at Memphis. So guys like that kind of jump out. And then there's some bigger names out there, but it is going to be interesting to see where they go.
Craig, what kind of offense would you like to see Baylor run starting next year? Does it matter to you?
No, I mean, I don't care. As far as the offensive coordinator search goes, I'm just waiting for Pete Thamel to tell us who that'll be. That's an inside joke. But yeah, I think one candidate is off the list already, Sean Lewis, which was a pipe dream perhaps anyways, but Deion's former OC there at Colorado, who obviously lost that job, second half of the season. That was a name that was being bandied about. At least Grayson had mentioned that among some other people, and he's apparently on his way to go be the head coach at San Diego State, according to Pete Thamel. So, yeah, that's apparently starting to come together. And there you go. There's a little bit of breaking news, I suppose, that Sean Lewis, former Colorado OC, is likely headed to San Diego State to become the Aztecs' next head coach. But, yeah, I mean, I've been so busy following all these coaching moves and all the portal moves and all of that. I mean, I've given a little bit of thought to Baylor's situation, but I feel like they're going to make a hire within the next few days. That's all I really have, as far as a sense of the pulse on things and what direction they go. I just want to feel like I just want to be entertained. I'm not their audience, but I felt like I was watching paint dry all year long and most of last year. And, the wide zone can be a beautiful thing when you've got the running back and the offensive line and the offense to do it. But when you don't, man, it stinks to watch over and over again. And when you don't have receivers to at least allow the passing game to open up or aren't quite ready for that, it's even tougher because you don't really have a lot of places to turn to. So, I don't care if it's, some variation of the spread. I would imagine they're going to go, some way of opening up a bit more. But, I mean, to answer your question, no. I don't have any particular detailed answer as to who I want or what I would like to see. I just want to see an offense that is entertaining to watch, that is, tailored to the players that you have and not incumbent upon, like, well, if we don't have this guy, it doesn't work. Kind of like if you didn't have the right running back this year or the offensive line, then you couldn't even run it effectively. I just don't want to see them run into a situation like that again. So, that's all I really have there.
All right, and me too. Just at least be, whatever you're going to do, make sure you do it pretty well. And at times you just wondered if it was almost like trying to fit a circle in a square. So here is a background on head coaches who have defensive backgrounds and how many coordinators have they hired over the years. I mentioned that yesterday about Kyle Whittingham at Utah. He has been there now 19 years. He has been through 9 offensive coordinators, and I think one of them, Ludwig, has been there 2 different times.
I will say that there are 2 tiers of this list. There are the Kyle Whittingham, Nick Saban, and Kirby Smart tiers of the list, in that, yes, Nick Saban's gone through some offensive coordinators, but one of them is Steve Sarkisian, one of them is Bill O'Brien. Like, those guys are going on to
Loxley, McElwain, they've all gone on to be head coaches.
Yeah, so there's only a couple that he's kind of, said, yeah.
2 of them he pushed out, Nussmeier and Applewhite.
Yeah. And then there's Kyle Whittingham, who's been there 19 years. So they've been successful. And then there's the guys who are Mark Stoops is a good head coach. This is probably the area of the Dave Aranda comparison would be. Dave Doran is a good head coach. He hasn't done anything great at NC State yet. Pat Narduzzi, I don't know how you want to grade.
It's hard
Pitt.
to imagine he's been there 9 years since the Michigan State Cotton Bowl.
But yeah, so he's been there. So that's where they are. So it's two-tiered, and that's those are interesting stats about defensive-minded head coaches and their OCs, and I'm sure it probably swings the other way of offensive-minded coordinators and their defensive coordinators. But just get an offense that works. Like, just get one that you don't even have to worry about.
It's a good thing if you hire a coordinator that others want, which is what the case was 2 years ago with Jeff Grimes, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes guys just don't adapt, and that was Jeff Grimes. Like, they didn't adapt to their roster fast enough, and you could kind of have seen this coming a little bit at the end of last year. And then instead of saying, okay, do we really have the roster for this, especially with the offensive lineman that we lost that had so much experience and the guys in the transfer portal, is this the right thing to be doing? They just kind of leaned harder into it and found themselves with a completely ineffective offense all year long.
Yeah, I agree. It was inept. Craig, anything on that list?
I mean, it's like Paul said, there's reasons why Nick Saban's had 9 OCs, and it's not for a bad reason. So, yeah, I mean, that's just part of having some success, but that's not what we're talking about with Dave Aranda. No coordinator has left for another job. Not a single one of them.
Only after they've been asked to leave, and then they got another job.
Well, that's what I mean. They had to go get another job. They didn't leave willingly to go take another job is what I was saying. But, I think that's apples to oranges in some cases. With this list, and without looking further into it and comparing exactly, all I know is that Dave Aranda's proven to be nothing of Nick Saban or Mark Stoops or Kirby Smart or Kyle Whittingham, and he's got some more time in the saddle to match up with everybody on that list. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't have anything specific on the OC or anything like that. All I know is that he's got to get this right. I mean, that's all we know is that he's got to get it right. I don't know who it'll be. Sean Lewis, again, was a name that was thrown out there, and you can go ahead and check him off. I don't know how realistic that was anyways, but it was at least a name that you saw mentioned there a little bit. And, beyond that, I hope he gets the right choice for his own sake, because if not, then we know what the end result is going to be sometime this time next year.
All right, there's a couple of other things to get to.